going on, everyone? So, Darvin Ham has been very bad this year, to put it bluntly, right? I mean, how many games have the Lakers lost just on his poor decision making, his poor lineup choices, the way he structures certain rotations and lineups in general? It's just he doesn't grasp the understanding of proper rotations, proper matchups, how to make in-game adjustments according to the situation, right? Situational awareness, lineup structure. Right? These are all key things that are very important for any head coach. And, Darvin Ham, you saw, like, even in the most recent Warriors game, you're arguably the biggest game of the season. You are basically down 15-20 the entire game. You finally get it to 5, and instead of closing strong, finishing the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter with some momentum and potentially putting yourself in a position to win the game, he decides to go with some weird lineup that can't score. They give up a 10-0 run to close the quarter. All of a sudden, the game's over, right? And it's like the Lakers go on a 7-0 run to start the quarter, but instead of being down 10 after that 7-0 run, if you would have done what you should have done, and I understand LeBron, you wanted to rest him, all stuff, but it's like, dude, it's the biggest game of the season. You win this game, we have a chance to get the 6th seed. We need you, man. No Anthony Davis, right? Again, read the room. Understand the situation, right? Like, you do what you got to do, and I understand you want to rest him. You don't want to risk injury, all that stuff, but hey, guess what? If you don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter. He has the entire offseason to rest. And it's just the decision-making time and time again by Darvin Ham has just shown to be a real issue for the Lakers. Big question, though, is will the Lakers actually pull the trigger on firing Darvin Ham? Is this his last season, or is he somebody that's going to be around and they're going to let him kind of finish his contract? Now, one of the big concerns, and I've even seen people suggest, like, hey, if the Lakers are terrible and they miss the playoffs and, we get into the offseason sooner rather than later, then the Lakers are going to fire Darvin Ham. Now, personally, I still want the Lakers to go as far as they could possibly go, right? Because I think you need to fire Darvin Ham regardless. Like, even if the Lakers win the NBA championship this year, I think that they need to fire Darvin Ham, personally. Again, these are my thoughts, and of course I want to hear yours down in the comments below. But I just think he's shown that he's just not capable currently of being a NBA head coach to the level in which we need him to be. Can he get there eventually? Sure, possibly. It's very possible, right? We've seen plenty of head coaches kind of take a couple years to kind of really get into the swing of things and really grasp the understanding, or even, in their first year or two. Even guys like Eric Spoelstra, right? LeBron and everyone was trying to get fired because they thought he was incompetent, and now he's looked at as the best coach in the NBA. Again, Darvin Ham may get there. I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he won't, right? But the Lakers, being in win now mode, they need a coach that understands the ins and outs. This roster, this depth, this just talent front to back should be in a much better position than they currently are. The Lakers should not be basically treading water, hoping to win 2 straight games to get into the playoffs. It's not something that should happen. And Darvin Ham is a big reason why the Lakers are in the position that they're in. And so to me, it's like, if we were some young, rebuilding, up-and-coming team, sure, keep Darvin Ham. Let him finish his contract and see where he's at. See if he has improvements year in, year out, right? But the reality is that we're not that young team. We have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The Lakers are hoping to go get a 3rd star in the offseason. All of these things, like, we need a coach that can come in and can properly understand the situation, properly understand lineup and rotation and lineup structures and how to properly call timeouts and all these things. Again, it's just, this season has been incredibly disappointing. Incredibly. It wasn't that long ago we were all just celebrating and excited and pumped of like, hey man, like, we may end up being in the conference final. Maybe this time we could actually beat Denver and get into the NBA finals and win a championship. And now it's like, are we even going to make the playoffs? And it's so incredibly frustrating to see the Lakers in this position when they shouldn't be. And a lot of it is the head coach and Darvin Ham. Now, is it all Darvin Ham? No. It's definitely a combination of things. The players have not performed up to snuff. How many games did we see this season where the Lakers just failed to show up? Like, the players they might as well stay at home, right? Like, so there's definitely that issue as well. But Darvin Ham he's done everything that you could possibly do to sabotage this season. He's made every mistake you could possibly make to jeopardize this season. And it's just, I don't think that you can bring him back next season and expect a better result. The only way I could see you keeping Darvin Ham is if the Lakers can bring in and find a veteran, experienced head coach that's willing to take an assistant job, that can basically do the X's and O's and do the head coaching part of it, where Darvin Ham is essentially just the face and the voice, right? Like, if you do something like that, then I think you can get away with Darvin Ham, and I think you keep him another season. Yeah, he'll still get the blame, and he'll still be the scapegoat and stuff. But in reality, if you can basically transfer the tides of power to a assistant and have Darvin Ham kind of just be the mouthpiece, so to speak, I think that you could keep him around. But as far as everything's gone in the reports, and it's not just one report, we've gotten several reports, and even D'Angelo Russell, and like, all you keep hearing over and over and over again is that, like, Darvin Ham has essentially lost the players, that there's this disconnect, that the players aren't super, willing to buy into Darvin Ham. You see so many players just completely ignoring him at times, or leaving the huddle, or he's drawing up a play and they're just like, right? And look, I've defended Darvin Ham. I have, even still to an extent, I'll defend Darvin Ham when it's warranted, because I do think there are some people that are still even a little overblown on Darvin Ham. But he's done everything in his power to make those people about as close to right as possible. Even though, again, I do think that at times there are things that are overblown. At times I do think Darvin Ham gets blamed for things that aren't in his control. But that doesn't mean that he's a good coach. That doesn't mean that, even when he is doing things right, that he's necessarily the reason for the wins. It's frustrating to watch him, because I have defended him heavily. And there are moments where it looks like he is competent, right? And like, even some of the stuff that he gets criticized for, right? Like, great example is, you see times where LeBron James is drawing up a play. And it's like, well, why is he a head coach if LeBron's doing it? Like, I love stuff like that, because, again, coaches' willingness to embrace players and allow them to, because they're the ones that are playing the game. They're the ones that are seeing things and having things develop that maybe you aren't properly seeing, because you're not actually on the court playing the game. So if your star player brings something to your attention that is actually of value, I respect and love that Darvin Ham is willing to embrace that and say, here, go ahead. Like, let's do it. Let's run it. Right? Like, there are things that are value of Darvin Ham. Again, he has had moments. He has had stretches. In the first 2 rounds of the playoffs last year even, he was very good. I mean, blatantly out-coaching Steve Kerr even. But it's just like he's gotten worse. It's really odd. It's really strange that you haven't really seen the improvement in the adjustments and the corrections and the changes that you would expect to see from a coach that is learning from his mistakes. And it's so frustrating time and time again. But even if with the deep playoff run, right? Because that's the whole thing. Like, oh, if he gets a deep playoff run, then he may end up sticking around. Like, I just think even with a deep playoff run, you got to let him go. I get the reports are like, hey, the Lakers, it's going to come down to how he does in the postseason. If he doesn't get a deep playoff run, he's gone. Like I mentioned it earlier, even if the Lakers win the NBA championship, I think you still have to fire him. The problem is, will they? Right? Like, let's say the Lakers go to the conference finals or they win the NBA championship. Do they look at it and go, man, Darvin Ham in his first 2 years went to the conference finals both times? Or went to the conference finals first year, went to the championship the second year? What does he look like year 3? Like, those are definitely things of concern. But we'll see. Time will tell. But I just, personally, I think you got to let him go. But how do you feel? What are your thoughts? As always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that, you gotta get rid of him, no matter what, regardless, whatever the end result is, you gotta let him go? Do you think no? If you can find an assistant that can properly come in and slot in and kind of run the X's and O's, then you should be good. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So when you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.